Hey folks, welcome back. I'm your host, RR Slugger, and today we're diving into the world of LEGO bricks with a mind of their own. This is Smart Play before Smart Play. The LEGO Group's new Smart Play system was a pretty divisive topic of discussion a few months ago. I shared my own thoughts on the matter over on my second channel, and even though they have changed fairly significantly since then, I still haven't been able to review the product firsthand, simply because it hasn't released in Canada yet. Any day now, guys. So I've been forced to look backwards instead of looking forwards in this regard. Has Smart Play existed within LEGO before? And if so, what form did it take? While I think there are a number of interesting examples of this you could point to, the one set I want to focus on today is 2916 MyBot from DUPLO's Action Wheelers sub-theme. Kind of an odd choice for me, I know, but there's a good reason for it. I've built this channel around the idea that all roads lead to Rock Raiders, and because of this, I have a feeling that folks will raise an eyebrow at my insistence that this is true for MyBot as well. Believe me though, I was as surprised as you. Here's the story. A couple of years ago, I wrote an article for bricknerd.com entitled Rock Raiders is a LEGO Space Theme. This article sparked a comment from Suzanne Eaton, who once worked at LEGO Futura Boston during the R&D phase of Rock Raiders. I first mentioned this response in my video LEGO Rock Raiders is not a space theme, so if you're feeling deja vu, that would be why. Anyway, Suzanne goes on to explain that there was a future wave of sets in development called Magma Mites that departed from the traditional minifigure head shape and featured electronics built into the sets. This would have belonged to the later abandoned Underground moniker that Rock Raiders was originally envisioned to be a part of. By the way, this is why Rock Raiders feels so much like an orphaned LEGO theme. Basically, it was. We can still see tiny scraps of evidence that Underground once existed in the theme descriptions written on the larger Rock Raiders boxes. Notice that Underground is conspicuously capitalized here? Curious. I wonder what the U in Planet U stands for. So what does this have to do with a weird DUPLO set from the year 2000? Well, there's a missing link here that Suzanne was generous enough to provide us. Check this out. This is concept art for the Magma Mites theme presented by Futura Boston. There's so much to go over here, so let's break it down. Firstly, check out the Rock Raiders lineage on this vehicle. Not only is it covered in yellow hoses, but it also features a Hover Scout-esque pilot module on the front of it. That is definitely part 30303, I'd recognize it anywhere. I think if we were to reverse engineer it, we'd end up with something like this. Next to the model in the concept art, we have the following: minifigure character recognition, customizable missions, and audible feedback. Wow, that sure sounds like LEGO Smart Play. Down here, we can see what the technology contained within promised to do. Honestly, it's some ambitious stuff. Wireless programming was not commonplace at the turn of the century. My family was still on dial-up back then. Mom, get off the phone! I'm trying to play Junkbot! We also see the swappable figure gimmick outlined at the bottom. Given the distinct colors of each character, it's possible that the electronic brick would have used a color sensor to detect who was piloting the vehicle. Alternatively, there may have been some sort of physical toggle to determine this, like what we see on the Keck Powerizer from Galador. This section of the concept art is also where we see our most concrete tie to the Magma Mites theme that Suzanne mentioned earlier. One of the descriptive details she listed was that the minifigures had flame-shaped heads. And not only do we have a flame-shaped head here, but the character itself is called Flame, to settle any doubt. So, we've got ties to Rock Raiders, Underground, Magma Mites, and even Galador if you squint a bit. Is there anything else? Well, besides the pretty overt similarities in concept to LEGO Spybotics, we also have the MyBot's branding up at the very top, which brings us back to the DUPLO set we're going to examine today. Before we do, however, let's just take a moment to appreciate how this peek behind the curtain shows us how interwoven product design was at LEGO back then. They really did try to get the most mileage out of any idea, and MyBot is a perfect example of this. There's honestly so much more here that we could deconstruct, but I still want to have time to talk about the set itself. I'll leave a link in the video description. A huge thank you to Sadie for hooking me up with these sources, as well as Suzanne for being as forthcoming as she's been. It's a rare opportunity to see this much product design material all in one place. So, with the rather unexpected backstory out of the way, what exactly are we looking at here? Well, the DUPLO Toolo Action Wheelers MyBot set is certainly a funky chicken in its own right. The main gimmick is centered around a massive electronics brick, complete with integrated lights and sounds. Surprisingly, despite the intricacies and LCD display, it only requires 2 AA batteries to power the whole rig. The copy I purchased from eBay was marked down and listed as non-functional, but a little vinegar and elbow grease fixed it right up. Toolo sets like this one were defined by their inclusion of a Toolo screwdriver to lock the pieces into place. This function doesn't replace the normal clutch power of the bricks, but rather augments it. And for as unnecessary as this may seem, I can't deny that it's kind of cool. Evidently, it was a popular feature, as the LEGO Group continued to produce Toolo-compatible sets into the mid-2010s. It's not really my jam, but I'm far from the target demographic here. The presumably titular MyBot is the only figure included in this set, and I don't think its resemblance to Major Kartovsky from Spyrius was an accident. There's a lot of similar color blocking here, but I do have to say that MyBot's chrome silver helmet might take the cake. The minifigure swapping mechanic from the original Magmamites concept pitch is absent in the final product, but the electronic module still reacts to the presence of a driver. Once seated, MyBot comes alive and starts searching for specific modules to ascertain how it should behave. The set comes with 6, I'm actually not sure what to call these things. Let's see what it says in the manual. Smart bricks. Yeah, let's go with that. The set comes with 6 smart bricks, 3 of which determine the function of the chassis, and 3 of which add supplemental features. The first 3 are straightforward enough. There's a car, plane, or robot walker to choose from here. Attaching your smart brick of choice to the microcomputer determines the lights and sounds you'll receive. For example, if you choose the airplane smart brick, the MyBot chassis will make jet engine noises as you swoosh it around. There seems to be some kind of tilt sensor contained within. From my experience, the MyBot can detect if it's leaning in all 4 cardinal directions. This feels incredibly similar to the Keck Powerizer, and I wouldn't be surprised if the two shared similar tech under the hood. The real question, though, is if MyBot can download information from watching the Galador TV show. In order to test this, I subjected MyBot to watching the first season on a loop for 6 weeks, but so far no results. I'll keep you informed of any changes. The next 3 smart bricks are all additive and can augment the play features already present. The fuel gauge smart brick turns your MyBot into a gas guzzler, forcing it to stop and refuel every so often during play. The burglar alarm smart brick notifies you if someone hijacks your MyBot and starts shaking it around. Lastly, the laser tag smart brick taps into the light sensor on the front, deducting hit points from the display until... yeah, that's pretty cool. If you think that's all the MyBot has to offer, you'd be wrong. There exists perhaps one of the most niche LEGO sets ever conceived. 2946 MyBot Expansion Set. No, I did not make this up. This set contains a whopping 15 pieces and only serves to slightly increase the functionality of the MyBot experience. Included within are 2 new smart bricks, one that turns the chassis into a helicopter, and one that adds a breakdown play feature. Regrettably, I wasn't able to track down a copy in time for this video, but that doesn't matter. With a little gray matter, anything is possible. Behold, the MyBot hacking device. This high-tech gadget will allow us to experience the expansion set without having to pay international shipping. You see, the smart bricks themselves aren't all that smart. Molded into the bottom of each of them is a combination of pegs that are designed to push through the hollow studs of the microcomputer. These pegs interact with 4 triggers on each side, and depending on which combination of pegs is present, that will determine which triggers are activated. So, since all the information of the expansion set is already contained within the brain of the microcomputer, all we have to do is reverse engineer the correct peg sequence. If we do that...
Look at you, hacker.
You wouldn't download a helicopter, would you? This also works for the fixer-upper smart brick as well. Similar to the fuel gauge, after a certain duration, the vehicle will break down and require you to fix it. This is all pretty neat, not gonna lie. It's also extraordinarily limited. The single biggest difference between the smart bricks of the past and the smart bricks of the present is in how they respond to new information. The MyBot system was shipped completely stagnant. There was no way for the LEGO group to add new features to it that they didn't account for ahead of time. With the modern smart bricks, all of this interactivity is synthesized on the spot, and new smart tags can always unlock new potential. The trade-off therein is that MyBot feels congruous and intentional right out of the box, whereas reviewers often claim that the smart bricks of today feel tacked on. I can't say one way or the other regarding LEGO's modern offering, but I will say that MyBot does what it says it does, and nothing more. It will never be more than what it was designed to be, but that isn't always a bad thing. MyBot is a complete experience and signifies the difference of smart play before smart play. Thanks for watching, everyone. If you want to see more of the MyBot in action, check out my live stream where we explore all of the features contained within. This video was brought to you by the folks who support me during the Summer of Slug, especially those subscribed to my Only Slugs tier on Patreon. Folks like Pezzy, who is currently working on a Magma Miners display with Rock Raiders equivalent vehicles. Magma Miners is a what-if scenario where LEGO pursued Underground and created other themes for it. Suitably topical to this video, I figured this shoutout just had to be first. Mikkel Max Mraz, who has always been drawn to the special prints on minifigures and LEGO bricks. As a visual designer, their #1 pick for coolest looking LEGO decals goes to UFO from 1997. As a slug, I couldn't agree more. Sled Dog, who tells me that thanks to Slugger's influence, they are now into both Time Cruisers and Devo. Notably, both Time Cruisers and Devo have a thing for funny hats. Huh, are we not men? Original Spiff, who is the original Spiff, the real Spiff. All you other Spiffs are just imitating. So would the real Spaceman Spiff please stand up? Please stand up. Please stand up. Cosmic Crafter, who is always ready for adventure, either among the stars or deep underground, so long as it's with his amazing wife and beautiful daughter. Thanks for the support, and I'm wishing your family the best. Tweetsy Railroader, who has a 90s-inspired LEGO Ideas project called Robbery on the LEGO Rado Express. Based on classic LEGO Western sensibilities, the project can be supported on LEGOideas.com. Nikki, who is a fan of 90s-era LEGO and topics about specific pieces or colors. They also enjoy the theme Rock Raiders from 1999. With all of these interests, might I suggest checking out the YouTube channel RR Slugger? And lastly, Siljeff, who recently had a birthday. As a little request, he wanted RR Slugger to do some singing. I love to sing about a moon and a June and a spring. I love to sing about a sky of a blue and a tea for two and a thing with a swing, or I love you. I love to sing. These folks and many more deserve our thanks for making the Summer of Slug a reality. If you'd like to pitch in and show your support, the links are in the video description. I've been your host, RR Slugger, and I'll see you next time for another video.